Welcome back to our channel, and in today's video we will be talking about quadratic equations and how to solve them. So first of all, let's define quadratic equation. As you can see, it's ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. Okay, so why it is called quadratic is because the highest order of unknown, in which case it's x, is 2. Okay, there is no x cubed or x to the power of 4, so that's called quadratic. If it's less than a to the x squared, then it becomes linear. The really important rule is you need to know that a cannot be equals to 0, otherwise it's not a quadratic equation. As you can see, b or c can be 0, and both of them can be 0, and I will write at the bottom all the possible variations of quadratic equation. So first of all, our first method would be factorising. Factorising quadratics can be used to solve them. So what it means is you need to split the equation into two factors. It can be either two brackets, or it can be just an x and a bracket. Okay, as you can see in some of the examples. So our first example is going to be x squared minus 2x minus 15 equals to 0. So I'm gonna write just two brackets, and then we need to think what to write in them. So first of all, we have x and x. Because the coefficient of x squared is 1, the only way you can times x and x to get x squared is if you only have one of each of them. And then you need to work out what number to put inside the bracket. Well, that will be quite straightforward. All you need to do, you need to have two numbers that times together to give you minus 15 and add up to minus 2. So the factors of 15 are 15 and 1 and 5 and 3. As you can see, the only combination that can add up to 2 would be 5 and 3. Okay, so just put 5 and 3 inside the bracket, and now you need to work out the sign. So to get minus 15, one of them has to be negative, and to get minus 2, 5 would have to be the negative. Therefore you get x plus 3 times x minus 5, and it equals to 0. So when you have two brackets times together to give you 0, the only way you can solve this if either of those brackets is 0, and that's how we get to our next step, which is x plus 3 equals to 0 or x minus 5 equals to 0, and then you just rearrange it to make x a subject, so you'll get x equals minus 3 and x equals to 5. Okay, there are way more complicated quadratic equations like this that you can factorize, and I made a special video on just those equations, I'll link below. Our next example is much simpler, but people find it quite tricky. So it's going to be x squared equals 4x. Just because it looks slightly different, it's not a different equation. So what you need to do with quadratics is first of all make them look like a standard equation. So you'll have to move 4x to the left hand side, and you're gonna get x squared minus 4x equals to 0. And now again, you need to find two factors. Okay, in our case c is 0, which means actually the first part and second part, they have in common x, so it's even easier to factorize. You take x out of the bracket, and inside we're going to be left with x minus 4. That also equals to 0. Just like before, you have two factors that times together to give you 0. That means either of those have to be 0. So we get x equals to 0 or x minus 4 equals to 0. And hence you get the solutions x equals to 0 or x equals to 4. Our final example, example number 3, is going to be x squared minus 5x plus 18 equals to 2 plus 3x. As you can see, again, this equation is not in standard form, so you want to put everything on the left hand side and then combine it, so we have exactly the same form as above. So let's rewrite this. You're gonna get x squared minus 5x plus 18, and I'm gonna move 3x to the side. It becomes minus 3x, and 2 becomes minus 2 on the left hand side, and then overall equals to 0. And now we combine the x part, and numbers that have no x. So x squared minus 8x and plus 16 equals to 0. Now you have to factorize. So I'm gonna use this formula on the right. As you can see, actually this is an expanded form of a minus b. Why do I know that? Is because I can see that x squared and then the last element, the plus 16, is also a squared number, and minus 8 is just the double of 1 and 4. Okay, so I'm just gonna use that identity. It's the same as completing the square, and I'm gonna get x minus 4 all squared. Since it's the repeated root, you're gonna have only one solution at x equals to 4. Thank you for watching. Give us a like if you enjoyed our video, subscribe and comment below if you have any more questions.